One famous trace of Indian culture is the prevalence of dowries. The family of the groom expects the family of the bride to give a great amount of money as a dowry at the occasion of the marriage, and if the family of the bride is not willing or not able to do that, the marriage would frequently not take place, regardless of the feelings of the couple. Girls from poor families will thus have difficulty in getting to good marriages, regardless of their beauty or personal qualifications. One essential point is to be able to differentiate Indian culture and Vedic culture. Many of the customs practiced in modern India have an origin in the original Vedic culture, but frequently they have been changed and corrupted over the centuries, sometimes beyond recognition. The dowry custom is one of such examples. In this sense, it's important to understand a little about context. The Vedic culture entered a phase of sharp decline after the death of Parikshit Maharaj, which happened a few decades after the Battle of Kurukshetra, a little over 5,000 years ago. Different cultures like the Egyptians, Greeks, Persians, Mongols, Celtics, etc., were previously part of this original culture, but with the advent of the age of Kali, they became separated, and the cultures started to diverge. We can find traces of the original Vedic culture in all these ancient cultures, but naturally most of it was changed and other customs were introduced with the pass of the centuries. The same process also happened in India, the root of the Vedic culture. Over time, the original culture declined, just like a tree may start to wither from the leaves and gradually lose its vitality until even the roots will dry out and die. Some customs were forgotten, others changed over time, and many others were introduced under the influence of foreign cultures. Up a few centuries ago, for example, nobody was eating chilies in India. This is a plant that originally grew only in Central America and was brought to India by the Europeans. However, we can see how much chili has become an integral part of Indian cuisine and culture since then. In the original culture, the dowry was a gift given goodwill by the father as a way to support the newly-wed couple. They would then start their married life with land, animals, some gold, etc., which would give them a head start in life, instead of having to fend by themselves like young couples have to do nowadays. Another meaning is that as a girl grows, the father would maintain her, giving her ornaments, clothes, and different comforts. A father will then give a good amount of ornaments and other objects at the time of marriage, so the girl will not lack anything in her new house. A third meaning is that the dowry is an inheritance given in advance. In Vedic culture, the boys would inherit the property of the father when the father passed away, but the girls would get their part in advance at the time of their marriage. Therefore, the dowry would frequently be of fabulous value, since it would, as a rule, correspond to a good percentage of the father's properties, corresponding to the part of the father's properties that are the share of the daughter. A fourth factor is that all the valuables of the dowry would be property of the wife, and not of the husband, much less of his family. Some objects, like house utensils, land, house, etc., would be used by the husband or even his family, but in case of a separation or death of the husband, the wife would keep everything and have thus means to maintain herself as well as something to pass to her children. In this case, we can see that the dowry worked also as a security cushion for the daughter, given by the father in case she would later face difficulties in life. A fifth factor is that, although very common in Vedic societies, dowries would not be a rule. Rich fathers would give vast dowries, but poor families would frequently just give something symbolic, like a piece of fruit, for example. It would be something given in goodwill according to one's means, and not by coercion. By studying the original custom and the modern practice, we can understand how this component of Vedic culture became adulterated over time, just like the caste system and other aberrations introduced in modern times.